The two of them hurriedly arrived at the water's edge, quickly covering themselves with mud. Now, how can they care about their image? The most important thing is to survive. A horde of zombies trailed closely behind them, having tracked them for a full day and night. Soon enough, the zombie horde passed overhead, causing Eugene and Rosita's scalps to tingle, as they overheard zombies communicating and speaking to each other. It was almost unbelievable and led them to question if they were mistaken. Fortunately, their hiding spot was well concealed, and the zombies didn't detect them. An hour later, Rosita ventured off alone. The zombie horde's odd behavior had prompted her to hide the injured Eugene before seeking help. As Rosita opened her backpack, intending to take a sip of water, she found it empty. The relentless fleeing had exhausted her both physically and mentally, with the zombies' conversations replaying in her mind. Ultimately, her energy depleted, and she collapsed on the ground. In the previous episode, it was mentioned that Michonne would be escorting the group of 5 to the hilltop. But before she does, Michonne is going to go to the place where Judith met them, to see if there's any truth to their claim that the car broke down. The 5-person group was still apprehensive, unsure of what kind of place they were heading to. Yumiko directed a question toward Michonne, asking about the hilltop. Michonne's response remained cool as she assured them, "I haven't been there in years, but I promised my daughter that I would get you there safely. You have to trust me." The team of 5 were even more apprehensive. They had already imagined the hilltop to be a bad place. Little did they know that 5 years had passed, and the hilltop had flourished, with advanced agriculture, expanded farmland, animal husbandry, blacksmithing, and the addition of a doctor like Enid. The residents enjoyed a simple yet stable life, making it a rare paradise in the apocalypse. Since the last time she assisted the kingdom, Tara hadn't returned to Alexandria's safe zone but had taken up management responsibilities at the hilltop. People held Tara in high regard for her capabilities. What came as a surprise was that 2 years ago, Maggie had stepped down from her leadership position and left the hilltop with her son. She would occasionally send back a letter or two. Of course, the burden of leadership fell on Jesus, and he was overwhelmed by the workload. Afterward, Jesus went out alone on horseback to clear his mind. In a sudden twist, he was tackled to the ground by a figure. The two grappled amidst the grass, and the attacker turned out to be Aaron. Over the past couple of years, Aaron had secretly visited the hilltop to learn combat skills from Jesus. He had become a match for Jesus in skill. After their sparring, they found a spot to share some wine. Truth be told, over these years, the kingdom had twice sought help from their two communities. However, Michonne's obstinate refusal to assist had led to strained relations between Alexandria's safe zone and the other communities. This had created a rift between Maggie and Michonne as well. Later, the kingdom proposed a joint marketplace among the communities for exchanging resources, an initiative meant to foster development. Yet, Michonne remained reluctant to participate, unwilling to send her people out into potential danger. Occasionally, Aaron would secretly visit the hilltop to check up on his old friends, keeping it from Michonne. The council also tried to persuade Michonne to change her mind about joining the marketplace, but it proved to be an arduous task. As they discussed these matters, a signal flare sounded in the distant sky. They identified it coming from the nearby woods and acted swiftly, recognizing that their own people were in trouble. Upon reaching the woods, they found Rosita unconscious by a tree. Aaron rushed to wake Rosita up. He knew that Rosita had gone out with Eugene. Now injured and unconscious, Rosita was here. Where was Eugene? In her weakened state, Rosita revealed that she had hidden Eugene in a nearby barn. Jesus urged them to return to the hilltop first as zombies were approaching. With nightfall approaching, they decided to search for Eugene in the morning. Meanwhile, Carol and Daryl didn't continue towards the hilltop. Instead, they followed Daryl to his camp. Over these years, Daryl hadn't found any clues about Rick. When Daryl was tired, he slept on a raft, and when hungry, he went hunting. On one such outing, he found a dog, naming it simply Dog. Carol then pulled Daryl aside and explained that she was sending Henry to the hilltop to study. Afterward, she'd return to the kingdom to prepare for the marketplace. She expressed concern about Henry's idealism, stating that he wasn't suited for survival in the apocalypse. Carol hoped that Daryl would accompany her to the hilltop to watch over Henry and teach him about the harsh reality of their world. Daryl outright refused, believing that Henry needed to experience hardship to learn, just like all of them had throughout their journey. Carol persisted, determined to convince Daryl to help. Michonne led the 5-person team to the location of their vehicle. To their surprise, the lorry was now overturned, its contents strewn about in disarray. They can only guess that they've encountered a larger zombie horde. Magna's eyes welled with sadness as she searched for her belongings. Her boyfriend had sacrificed himself here. A few minutes later, their weapons were found, but Michonne wouldn't allow them to carry them. She gravely informed them that she had come to verify what had happened to them. Siddiq and DJ will escort you the rest of the way. The team of 5 was very confused. She hadn't been to the Hilltop in ages. Who knew what the situation was like there? On top of that, she was confiscating their weapons. Michonne wasn't shy in retorting that if they wanted to go to the Hilltop for a better life, they needed to leave their weapons behind. Otherwise, she wouldn't accompany them. The people in the room looked at each other in disbelief and didn't know what to say. Facing Michonne's dominance and the unknown nature of the Hilltop, the team began to diverge in their opinions. Some suggested surviving on their own. However, Luke believed that they weren't bad people and they should go to the Hilltop. Yumiko concurred, reasoning that if these people wanted to harm them, they would have done so already. Luke also told his companions that while they might not like Michonne's rules, they had survived on the outside for a long time and knew what life was like out there. So, for the possibility of safety, they should endure, so the others don't say anything. The group found an open room to rest as the sun began to set. Michonne stayed outside on guard. Suddenly, she heard noises from inside, seemingly from the place where the weapons were stored. When Michonne walked in, she saw a figure searching for weapons. She knew these people were up to no good. Michonne quickly approached him and told him to drop his weapon and turn around.
I said, drop it.
I can't.
No!
The ensuing scream woke up the sleeping group, prompting them to rush to the scene.
What the hell's going on?
It turned out to be a misunderstanding. Luke's prized violin had been cut in half. With it being close to dawn and no one feeling sleepy, Michonne's intentions to explain were halted by Luke, who heartbreakingly explained the value of the violin. This led to some teasing among the teammates. It seemed that this wasn't the first time Luke had shown off his violin. This accidental incident caused Michonne to let her guard down somewhat. In the early morning, they quickly gathered their belongings as they were just a few hours away from reaching the Hilltop. Michonne began instructing Siddiq about various matters, intending to leave after escorting them a portion of the way to avoid any awkward encounters with Maggie. Siddiq assured Michonne that she needn't worry. Maggie had already left the Hilltop with her son and Jesus was now the leader. Michonne looked shocked. It seems that the committee is secretly liaising with other communities, but Michonne was more worried about Maggie than anything else. How did she get out of the Hilltop? Before Siddiq could answer, DJ comes back and says there are zombies out there and they have to leave now. The group quickly set off. Yumiko and the others wanted their weapons to fight off the zombies, but Michonne didn't respond to their request. Upon venturing outside, they saw that the number of zombies was overwhelming. They wouldn't be able to break through without weapons. DJ hurriedly opened a bag filled with weapons. They needed to fight their way out together. Armed with weapons, their combat abilities were all formidable. Yumiko was an exceptional archer, while Kelly and her brother displayed incredible skill with slingshots. Looking towards their horse-drawn carriage, they noticed that most of the zombies were attracted to the horses. The transportation was crucial and couldn't be damaged. Yumiko quickly directed her team, having them split up and fight in pairs. The weakest fighter among them was likely Luke, the music teacher. Fortunately, others came to his aid. In a matter of minutes, the zombies posed no significant threat. At this moment, a zombie in a floral shirt approached. Everyone froze. It was Magna's boyfriend, their former teammate. Michonne understood their hesitation, so she took care of it herself. More zombies were closing in, and the group remained in a state of mourning. Michonne urges them to leave as soon as possible. After last night's misunderstanding and the fight just now, Michonne has let her guard down against them. She didn't take back their weapons either, but the 5 individuals weren't in the best mood, considering they had witnessed their close companions turning into zombies. After walking for a while, Michonne stopped. It would only be embarrassing to go to the Hilltop. She wouldn't be welcome there. Siddiq apologized and mentioned that he should have informed Michonne about Maggie earlier. Maggie was now in a distant place, helping Georgie manage a new community. Friendly reminder, Georgie is the person who gave them that book. Siddiq wanted to persuade Michonne to go to the Hilltop, as the strained relationship could be repaired. However, Michonne declined. She was a strong-willed individual. Just as they talk, Michonne prepares to draw her katana as 2 men on horseback are seen in the distance. Judging by their spears, they were likely from the Hilltop. These 2 men were going to deliver a message to the Alexandria safe zone, where Rosita was recovering from her wounds. Michonne changed her mind upon seeing them. Daryl and Carol had already reached the Hilltop. Their arrival was naturally welcomed by the community. Tara also came forward to greet and embrace them. Over the past 5 years, the two communities had supported each other, leading to this day. Jesus teased, "What wind blew you guys here?" Carol had to pull Henry out and explain that he wanted to learn blacksmithing here. Jesus naturally agreed. They were surprised by how much Henry had grown. Aaron also came forward to catch up with Daryl. Aaron told Daryl about Rosita's condition and how Eugene had gone missing. They were preparing to go find him. And Daryl, the tracking expert, could be of great help. Daryl readily agreed. Hearing about the mission, the spirited young Henry also wanted to join, but he was sternly rejected by his mother. Even Jesus put on armor, ready to leave. He didn't want to stay here and manage. Jesus is familiar with the terrain here and can go out and be useful. Soon, the search team set out, hoping Eugene was still alive.